How much should I apply for on my line of credit? Interesting question. When I'm working with clients, there are some things that I like to take into account, some things that I want you to go ahead and consider. Okay, so I laid out a couple things, just a couple, the main factors that I look at when I'm working with my clients. I'm like, hey, they're asking me how much should I apply for? What do you think I can get approved for based on my numbers and based on my credit score? So some things to consider is, first thing I look at is your monthly income, right? Because I'm trying to see whether you can handle a big line of credit or starting off small, right? That might be the end of the conversation right there. If you don't feel comfortable with a big line of credit, if you don't trust your own self, hey, let's start small. Let's do small chunks. Let's get used to it. We can always increase later on. Sound good? Cool. Second thing I look at is your cash flow. Definitely, cash flow is key, right? I have a little system where I just take your cash flow, times it by 6, times it by 12. I'm like, look, boom, that's our chunk every, 4 months or every 6 months. That's what our chunk is going to be towards debts, and then we go from there. Okay. Third thing is equity. That really applies to HELOCs. How much equity do you actually have in your property? Okay, if you've got 50,000, 100,000 of equity in your property, I'm not going to go ahead and recommend you try to get all of that. I'd say, hey, get half. Give me 25. If you have 50K equity in your property, try to get me 20, 25. If you have 100, try to give me 50. We really don't need a big HELOC or line of credit when we're paying off debt. Okay? And obviously that varies case by case. If you're making 20, 30,000 a month and you have 2.5 million of debt or 2 million, might be a different story there. We might be making some serious chunks. So I might ask you to get about maybe a $70,000 to $100,000 HELOC, where we're making $20,000, $30,000 chunks every 6 months, and that depends on cash flow as well. Okay, the next thing is kind of like referring to your credit score is your debt to income ratio. That's one of the biggest factors that they're going to look at. Most of the lenders, they're going to look at how much current debt do you already have compared to your monthly income. They're trying to see, can you handle another debt? That's all they're looking for. Okay, and then last thing is your personal behavior. How are you? How would you respond if you were to receive a $100,000 HELOC? Are you gonna waste that money on the kitchen repairs that wife has been asking for? Or are you going to do what I say and apply the chunks and do it strategically and follow all my rules, right? Personal behavior, right? I have clients that will work with me. I lay out the entire strategy and they change the whole game on me. And I'm like, listen, you're not taking advantage of me, of the system, if you're going to change things on me. You're just delaying yourself, okay? Or working with a client, lay the whole strategy out, get the line of credit, got the chunk, we got everything in line. And then they say, oh, Denzel, I want to invest my money. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to be like, hey, we could either get these results, then invest later, or take the risk of having all that debt still there and then using this debt tool to invest money. And if that goes south, you still have the debt and now you got a new debt. So you make the choice. It's really up to you. Personal behavior, right? And I just laid out a couple little numbers here. I said, if you're making $5,000 a month, your cash flow is $2K. Listen, all you really need is a $10,000 to $15,000 personal line of credit, or a HELOC anywhere from like 20 to 30K. And that's just going off income and cash flow. Haven't even factored in credit score or anything like that. If you're making $10,000 a month and your cash flow is 3K, $20,000, $25,000 line of credit seems fine. Most personal lines of credit only go that high, 25,000. Most of them. You might see a 30 or 40 lurking around every now and then. For the most part, that's where they cap off at, of the personal lines of credit. On the business side, it's endless, really. And then on the HELOC, it's really just based on equity, okay? And then when it's all said and done, you definitely need to have some credit under your belt to even get approved for these types of debt tools, okay? And then the last thing I do is I take cash flow. What is your monthly cash flow? What is, when I say cash flow, all the money that's left over after you invested, saved money, spent money, all the outgoing, what is actually left over that doesn't go anywhere? That number right there, I take it, times it by 6, I might times it by 7, 9, 12, right? No more than a year, 6 minimal. And I say, boom, that's our chunk. In some situations, not all of them, okay? And just to remind you, listen, getting that line of credit is like the very first step, and it's great and it's exciting. Just understand that you can always increase the line of credit later on. Okay, so if it didn't go your way, if you only got approved for 10,000 and you wanted 20, hey, work with the 10. Let's do velocity banking for a couple months, and then we increase it later on and try to get to the max. Okay, so quick video on that. Hope that helps you out in your journey on velocity banking. Hope to be working with you soon. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. I got a lot of content on velocity banking, infinite banking, establishing your kingdom authority, living the life that you want to live, financially free, which is the goal that majority of us are trying to achieve. Why not come together and let's do this one-to-one, in a group setting or private, however it is that you want to make a commitment. I just want to let you know I'm here. Like I said, my name's Denzel. Reach out to me. Have a wonderful day. God bless.